Hey folks, welcome to episode number 75 of the Avocado Gamescast. 2021 is now in full swing. GameStop is being kept afloat by the power of meme magic. Everyone's horny for a giant vampire lady, and we're finding out that the reward for putting out an awesome skateboarding game is being sent to hell. Or at least being forced to recreate it. Anyway, I'm your host Merve, and joining me, he's out surfing with Big the Cat, it's Ben.
Good morning, I guess. Yeah, it's fucking 3 a.m. That's morning.
He's talking about bug snacks, it's Bresson.
Oh, yeah, good evening.
Whoa, did you see that sick ollie? It's the Kappa.
Hold till the moon, diamond hands, all that other stuff. I'm in it to win it.
And finally, making his podcast debut, we finally let him out of his cage. Give a warm welcome to Hobbs Mark II.
Hello. Thanks for
So,
having me.
Hobbs, great to finally get you on this podcast. I think we've
Yeah,
known
how
each
long have
other.
we been?
Yeah, we've known each other on the internet for like a decade now.
I think so. I looked up the Gameological announcement, and that was in August of 2012.
Oh wow.
So,
Yeah. So, Hobbs and I have been chatting about video games online for like 9 years, and now
yeah,
finally we get to chat with voice instead of just like
live.
typing words to each other about like Crusader Kings 2 or whatever. Um,
Right.
how are you folks doing in 2021?
Today I'm a little sick, but overall it's been a pretty smooth 2021. It's kind of it's nice to not feel panicky every single day, you know. a little bit smoother for some reason. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, it's some things have changed. Other things have stayed the same, but I feel a little bit more vague hope than I did like 8 weeks ago. So glad that we at least turned the page on the new calendar. Uh, so we've been playing video games during this time. We're still stuck inside. Still can't go outside too much. Still can't go to parties and raves because that's what we like to do, the parties and the raves. Uh, so what have
I'm
you folks?
not sorry, but yeah, I'm not stuck inside.
Oh yeah, you're not stuck inside because your country actually knows how to handle things. Um, the rest of the world is
Walked to the shops today. It's full of people. Sat down, had lunch.
yeah. Meanwhile, I'm literally in quarantine. Um, don't move during global pandemic. It's not fun. Uh, so Ben, since you can go outside, what have you been playing instead of using your outside privileges?
Oh, I've started taking up cricket.
Really start taking up cricket. You would make my
No,
parents so
that's it.
happy.
I'm not fucking playing cricket.
My mom
Cricket's
used to play cricket when she was a kid. That didn't get passed down to me because nobody plays cricket in Canada.
cricket's
Uh,
the best sport to play because if you're fielding, it means you don't actually have to do shit most of the time. Like you
yeah, just gotta watch the bowler and the batter.
Yeah. Anyway, so I started and finished Little Nightmares today. Does anyone play that?
No, but I've heard of it.
I've played like the start of it, but nothing more.
Well, basically, I figured I should probably play it because I want to play the second one, and that's like out in a week or so. So it's only like 3 hours long. Beat it in one sitting. Um, it's very similar to Inside, the one done by the Limbo people. Fuck, what's their name?
Play Dead.
Yeah, it's very similar to that, except you know how that was all on like 2D plane. This one's actually like 3D, but just with a 2D camera, if that makes sense. Um, and it's much more horror themed. It's like, oh yeah, that's probably me because it's the middle of summer. Let me turn off the fan. I'm just gonna fucking die for this.
It's all right. You can die for podcasting. It's a good cause.
Is that better?
It is better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh my god, I'm already sweating.
Oh yeah, it's the middle of summer for you. Oh shit, yeah.
It's like 3 a.m. and it's 30 degrees. It's fucking bullshit.
God.
That's awful. Yeah, like if it's ever hotter than 30 for me, I just like conk out. I can't deal with that shit. But yeah, you're saying about
2009.
Little Nightmares.
Yeah. So Little Nightmares. So basically, it's like a 2D perspective. Like the camera is locked on like a 2D plane, like a side-scrolling platformer. But you do actually have 3D movement. You can like go back and forth into the background and all that kind of shit. And it's like a horror puzzle. It's like one of those games where you basically only can jump and grab things, and you have to solve puzzles and monsters chasing you, trying not to die, and all that shit. It's really good, like moody, creepy atmosphere and everything, but it's really hard, which I think kind of ruins the horror of it. Like you die a lot in it. Like it's a lot of just like you go into a room, you have to figure out what to do, you die figuring it out, and then like you can do it a bit better the next time, get a bit further, die. Like that kind of
Yeah.
game structure. But that makes the deaths kind of meaningless, which kind of removes a lot of the horror from the game. So like there are these big creepy like bad guys that are just the only way I can describe them is they look like the stop motion shorts that used to be on between kids shows in the afternoon on the ABC in Australia, which I realize is a very niche reference that means nothing to anyone, but that's the best way to describe them.
I
And
like
like
those kind of stop motion children shorts are like pretty common on like public broadcaster Canadian TV. It's I think a similar aesthetic.
the
But
problem with the ABC ones is I'm pretty sure they just went like, sure, they're kids shows, they're animated, and they were not. Like, there was, like, that was fucked up shit. I don't know why they had it.
I mean,
Anyway,
have you
enough about
seen the nightmare that is Pokeroo? Um, I grew up with some pretty freaky shit on public television.
Well,
But
they're
yeah,
definitely trying to
we'll
get
put one of
live.
those in Linkdump if we can find it. So yeah, sorry, you were saying?
Yeah. So, and like, everything about it is, like, creepy and it's all really well done and everything. And, like, it is a good game, but I just think the over reliance on, like, the actual putting it. God, sorry, it's 3 a.m. and I haven't slept all day, and I'm having trouble putting words together, which is really great for a podcast. Fuck. So what am I trying to say?
You're trying to say that it's a good game that's a little bit let down by
Yeah.
um,
So
kind of
basically,
cheapening the horror.
yeah, I don't think putting a hard challenge really works in a horror game because it makes deaths more meaningless if you're dying a lot more. If you know what I mean?
Yes, that's why I guess games like Amnesia can be successful in creating that horror because you're not like dying all the time, but you're getting scared all the time. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense?
Like I the game's very similar to Inside, so I compare it a lot to that, and it's about the same length, about 3 hours long. I died 3 times in Inside playing that. I died like 15 times in one room in Little Nightmares. Like it just kind of like so by the end of it, you're just like, yeah, he'll fucking kill me. I don't care. We'll see if I can get a bit further. But it was pretty good.
Oh, I'm
That's
glad
it.
to hear that it's well pretty good as far as I'm concerned, worth checking out. Um, Hobbs, what have you been playing?
Oh, I've been playing lots of weird crap. I've been playing the early access for Tainted Grail, which is I like a year ago I kickstarted this board game, which is like I don't know some interesting apocalyptic King Arthur thing,
Oh, Tainted
co-op game.
Grail. For a second, I thought you said Tainted
Yes,
Grill, and I was like,
Yeah, I
am
was
I gonna
googling
get salmonella from playing this?
the game about food poisoning. Yeah. Uh, yeah. No. Yeah. So it's just a board game, and we got it. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, have been playing it during quarantine and lockdown and all of this fun stuff. And it's a good board game. And then they, I guess, decided they were going to make a video game out of it randomly, um, and gave us all free keys for it. So it's weird. It's a like deck builder. It's not really pulled together. You just kind of keep doing things, and things get harder. So it's a little like Hades in that regard. Um, but I don't know. The setting's better in the board game. Um, what else? I've been doing Islanders, which is like it's like a fun little mobile game type deal. You do what it is it's a like city placement and resource placement thing, but it's done in this very blocky style, pixel style, and you're just dropping, like a house down, and you get a certain number of points for all the other houses nearby, and like the city center and the gold mine or whatever, and then some negatives, like if you put the sand extractor too close or something like that, and you're just trying to get your score up so you can move to the next one. And
Okay,
it just
so it's
never
not like
ends.
a full-on simulation, like some like Tropico or
No,
SimCity.
it's yeah, it's just this like point arcade game, a time waster. But it's got like, it's kind of like Bad North, but that's the kind of style I would say, where it's just kind of relaxing and fun. Um, but
Man,
it's
you had a
not.
very different experience with Bad North to me then.
Well, I'll say
That game
Bad
was
North.
stressful as fuck.
Yeah. But I think the just kind of like the music was chill kind of. And I didn't feel ever like I was like, horrified to lose, right? Like it was just like, okay, I can go do it over again if I feel like it. Or I can just do something else, which is generally what I did when I lose. It's a
Makes
little
sense.
easier than Bad North.
All right, so you've been playing a lot of like simulations and like tabletop-y kind of stuff, which is always it's
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah.
Bresson, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Borderlands 3, but it's not really interesting to talk about. But I've also been playing M. Dickey's Wrestling Empire on the Switch, which is an utterly bizarre game. M. Dickey's like really infamous and famous in the wrestling circles for making these homebrew like throwback games. They're like 3D wrestling games which look like they're straight off the PlayStation 1. They have like barely any kind of physics, and it's like a big mess, but it's just like a lot of fun.
Oh
And
yeah.
problem is, most of the time, it's like a one-man project, and he tries to put way too much stuff in it, so it breaks all the time. So now he had like the bright idea to do a switchboard of that, and it runs pretty well. But it has like a menu which you can clearly see is like put together with just a static background and like some word text over it. And yeah, the game is like really weird. It lacks like any license. So like Daniel Bryan is like named Dragon Ryan. It's like really bizarre. I love these game on the PC already, but they're like really hard to explain. It's kind of the problem. It's like playing one of those old WWF games like SmackDown Bring the Pain, which are like kind of arcadey. They're like not you can do combos, but they're like pretty limited. So it's
Yeah,
just
like
like throwing dudes around with
like the
hmm?
N64 era ones. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I only
I've
played it
played a
like
couple of
later on
those,
Virtual
weirdly enough.
Console. Hmm?
I said I've
What
played a
did you
couple of
say?
those, weirdly enough, for someone who's just not into wrestling.
Oh yeah, they're just really
They were
good.
ubiquitous.
There's like a couple people really like. I
That
mostly
seems
played.
got me into wrestling to start with.
Yeah, I mostly play them from like the PS2 area. Um, but this one is also like an insane career manager mode, which like you run your own promotion, but you also need to wrestle like all the matches and stuff. And for this one, he gave like the option to do like 40-man cage matches. So you throw like 40 men in a cage, and the game like nearly breaks down, and you seemingly try to win it. It's like really bizarre. The dude got like a really big ego. He's like British, and he doesn't want anyone to help with the games. So he's just like endlessly updating these online. And now there's for some reason a switchboard, and it's like 50, $20, and it's like lots of fun.
I
That's
love the
what I've
idea
been
of a
playing.
wrestling empire for some reason. Like, like countries that like wage war via like sending in, their country's equvalent of like the Macho Man into the
Yeah.
into the ring, and whoever wins
Yeah.
gets the whole
Yeah,
country.
the funny part is because it's like all equators off because he has like zero license. So the Macho Man is like called like the Becho Boy or something like that. It's really weird. It's like playing a bootleg pretty much.
It seems like if you wanted to get as crazy like this, you could really like maybe take that Dynasty Warriors formula and just
Yeah.
instead of running around hitting things with an axe or whatever, you're just running around doing choke slams or whatever. So
Like
I think it's a
Muso
cool
wrestling.
idea. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. I was thinking
It
when you said Empire, I was
I've looked
thinking
at
like,
wrestling now.
when you mentioned empires, I thought it was like you were going for like Europa Universalis, but
oh
wrestling
god,
themed.
no. It's just like a really arcadey game with like a completely insane career management. It's good fun. It's also got like 4 Switch multiplayer now, which is like the best. It's just like a lot of fun.
And this is all made by one dude.
It's made by one dude in the UK, and he like tweets, and he never responds to any of the responses, and he like keeps going on about it, like this is the best wrestling game ever made since 1999.
So he's the Hideki
Because there's like
Kamiya of
three
indie
wrestling games
wrestling.
for the Switch. It's like the god awful port of the last WWF game made by Ukes. There's like Battlegrounds, which is god awful, and there's this.
Oh, well, I am actually super intrigued by this, and I am tempted to pick it up just to see what it's all about.
Oh, don't pick it up just yet. Just watch some YouTube videos because it's like there's like lots of footage of it. It's amazing.
All right, I'll check it out. Kappa, what have you been playing?
I mean, kind of the boring stuff, which has been I did a replay of Halo, and I did a replay, and I've been playing a bunch of Fortnite, but nobody wants to really hear about that. I don't think we've talked about it enough. I started Medium,
Oh yeah.
which like I don't know why this game, it feels like it's a little bit more hyped than the average Bloober games have been.
Yeah.
Good
Um,
next
Blair
exclusive,
Witch,
I'm sure.
Sorry, what was that,
Blair
Ben?
Witch kind of came and went, but yeah, was that?
Pretty sure it's getting the hype because it's an Xbox exclusive and like they don't have any.
Yeah, it very well could be, but I mean, it was weird because I even got like a new NVIDIA driver update just for it, and usually like I don't, you know how on PC like usually like the driver update for a game is kind of like a signal that like this is a game that it's kind of like big on the PC and stuff. Yeah, so maybe it's just a real dry spell right now. I really haven't formed too much of an opinion on it, honestly, but I'm enjoying it a lot. There's a lot of good like storytelling beats and moments in it. It's got an interesting premise. I feel like we've done this a couple times, kind of that switch between worlds type thing. What was that? Murdered
Guacamole.
Soul.
Murdered Soul Suspect sort of
That's
does
it.
it.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, that's a long while ago.
Oh
Yeah.
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 I
I
remember
really
that
like this
game.
game.
Hobbs will
This
remember when I was playing it and we were all calling
Yeah.
it Murdered Colon and making diarrhea jokes about it. It was not a good game. Um,
Yeah.
then there was
Oh,
like
You
the
write
levels
something up
from
for it?
Titanfall 2 and Dishonored 2, which also had a similar kind of mechanic.
I really like Murdered, but it's like really kitschy and really drawn out. But yeah, it's not a great game, but I just like really liked it.
I think
um
it's better
Guys,
written than it gets credit for. But yeah.
Like
Oh
I,
yeah, for sure.
I
you
think
guys
if you're
are missing the best world swapping one, which is Shadow Man.
oh yeah
Shadow Man.
Oh yeah, we
yeah.
also forgot about Guacamelee.
I said Guacamole.
Ah,
Yeah, but we
There's
don't
a
listen to you, Ben.
I
I'm kidding.
Also,
We love you,
forgot
Ben.
Fucking Soul Reaver. Like,
I would say that this game, the world switching isn't as important maybe as some of those other ones. Like it happens, but it feels a little bit more organic. It's not just go here to solve the puzzle then go back.
Have you done any of the split screen bits yet?
No, not. I mean, yeah, I've gotten to a few of them. I think the real thing is that the game is going for an atmosphere that I really enjoy, kind of that slow psychological type horror. Do you know what I mean? So
like it seriously looks like Silent Hill,
yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I want to get a little bit further before I get a real. I'll probably review it next podcast, but I really like where it's going in a lot of ways. But I've been crowing about Game Pass for a while now, and it kind of feels like between this Control and a few other things, like the past couple months have been real good. They also threw the whole Yakuza collection up there, so now that I finished Zero, I got a lot more to play. So
Oh yeah, you got 6 more games.
Yeah, I know. And like I've been reading online, everybody's like, skip this one, play this one, skip this one, play this one. I'm like,
like fuck that, play them all.
Yeah, play them all. They're all great.
I gotta space them out though. I don't know if I could do a Yakuza back to back with another Yakuza. Honestly, like they're very enjoyable games, but like I don't know. You definitely kind of like start to get towards the end. You're like, all right, how many more people do I gotta punch? You know?
Oh yeah, no. I've up to like I just downloaded Yakuza 5 off the Game Pass thing, and I started like 3 years ago, so it's taken me that long to get to number 5.
Yeah, I did
just played them when all the remasters like launched, and it's like a year and a half between them. So yeah.
But if you did ask me at the beginning of the year what I thought the best Polish release video game was going to be, I probably wasn't going to say the medium. So, good for Bloober Team, I guess. But yeah, I think it's going to be worth a check out. Game Pass makes it more worth. I don't know if I'd say buy it just yet, but if you're slow psychological horror isn't really done a lot anymore. I feel like Bloober Team's kind of like living in that area right now. So if you're a fan of that type of stuff, we always get around Halloween. We always talk about stuff like that, but I think this is one that needs to really kind of stick around, and maybe people will enjoy it when it comes back around. Maybe a little more scarier times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I've got it sitting on my Xbox ready to go, and I'm just been waiting to start it.
It starts out with a bang too, so hope you enjoy it. You'll really enjoy the first couple hours, I think, and then it kind of starts to become a little bit more, maybe more like on a path, but it's still good.
Yeah. So it looks interesting to me. I definitely want a little bit more psychological horror in my life. I think the last game I played like that was Call of the Sea, which has had a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So interested to check that out. So I can talk about one of two games. I can talk about either Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, which I was playing last night, or I can tell you all about the Balan Wonderworld demo. I guess I should go with what's more contemporary, because Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 is Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. I don't usually like coming on here and just like shitting on something, but I'm gonna shit on the Balan Wonderworld demo because, oh God, this is going to be on worst game of the year lists. I guarantee it.
I'm sometimes like I feel like there's two, no, I mean more than two, but like I feel like there's like two ideas at Square Enix, and it's always weird. Like it feels like there might be like an executive or somebody out there who just greenlights just weird stuff sometimes, you know?
This is Square, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sega.
No, because Yuji Naka left Sega to work on this.
But it's not fucking actually Sega.
Yeah. So Yuji Naka has his own development studio called Balan Company now under Square Enix to work on this game, and the results are not good. Which is disappointing because you'd think that one of the people behind Sonic could make a good game. I don't know why. I just heard myself say that, and I realized that was a ridiculous thing to say.
What? Yeah. I mean, everything I've seen about it, and I haven't watched a ton about it, but everything I've seen about it just makes it feel like it's coasting on like, look at these cute character designs. Doesn't this kind of make you feel a little nostalgic? Stuff like that. A little bit less than, really like check out this gameplay or check out this or check out that. So
okay, I'll just have a look. So it's made by a company called Asrest Corporation, which I've never heard of before, and basically they made 3DS ports of Nintendo like like Wii U games before this.
Yeah, I believe it after seeing it. Like I watched
Basically,
somebody stream it, and it very much looks like a 3DS game. If I had to pick like a style of it, I don't know. Merv
like just
probably
having a
knows
look,
more
they
about
made Mario and Sonic at the Rio Olympics 2016 for 3DS, Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World for the 3DS, Hey Pikmin for the 3DS, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Story port for the 3DS, Terror Wars for Android. Like, I've never even fucking heard of half these games.
it.
Yeah, so I think it was two studios working on it. It was like Balan and then Arzest assisted. Um, but yeah, gameplay that I guess we have to talk. Like I've been saying, this is a bad game, but let me
Mhm.
explain what's bad about it. Um, so action video games kind of live or die on, for lack of a better word, their verbs. So like
Mhm.
every button is mapped to like a verb. So in Mario, you can kind of run or jump, right? And then that kind of adds to your repertoire. Sometimes you can toss fireballs depending on the game you're playing. So you have a bunch of
Kirby
stuff you
adds
can do.
eat.
Yeah, Kirby can eat, Kirby can run, like, and Kirby can kind of fly. So they have all these things in their repertoire, and they use them in interesting ways. Um, so your first indication that Balan Wonderworld is kind of restrictive is that every face button does the exact same thing. Like even in the menus, it's not like you press B to cancel. There's like a cancel button at the bottom of every menu that you have to press to cancel out of something, because every face button is confirm. Um, Same goes for the shoulder button, for the lower shoulder buttons, by the way. Um, so really, you only control four things. You control your character with the left joystick, the camera with the right joystick, um, the actions with the shoulder buttons, with the lower shoulder buttons or the face buttons, and it's just one action that you can do at a time. And you can kind of switch between actions on the fly with the upper shoulder buttons, the L and R. Um, and these actions are linked to costumes that you pick up in the world, and you can only equip one at a time, and you can switch between them.
Wait. Did you? So going through that. So is jump not a default button?
So jump is what the face button does when you're not wearing a costume.
Yeah, I haven't played this, but the game's it's like a lot of those older games where it's like if you're in a suit, the jump button becomes it changes to something, right? Like
Yeah.
I remember somebody was like playing as like a wolf, I think, and
So
like
like
the
if you've
jump button
got
kind of is like a
super
dash.
you can't jump.
So
Right,
the
right.
wolf
When you're the
has
kid,
like
you
a
jump.
the wolf has like a jump attack, but there's
Right.
certain costumes, like there's a dragon where you can't jump if you have that equipped. All you can do is breathe fire. Um, so
That's bizarre.
yeah,
Ooh,
so
I
Yeah,
hate that.
yeah,
yeah,
so
and
all you can do at a time is one action, but you can switch between them. So I guess there would be some strategy in like picking up costumes, then making sure you have the right inventory, for lack of a better word. Um, but it's not clear. But you can like double up on costumes. It's really weird.
yeah, and the person I watched streaming it kind of explained like there's not really an indication of what is or isn't going to work on each like enemy or scenario or type. Like, do I need to be the wolf or do I need to be the dragon or the pig or whatever? It's just always kind of like a lot of trial and error to what affects what in the game, and that was really aggravating to watch them play it because it's
So
like
Wait, so
basically
there's not even
everything
like a.
affects everything because
right,
it's a game with no strategy. It's the most brain dead game on the planet. Um, you just jump, and if you jump in the right way, you damage them. And if you jump in the wrong way, then you get damaged. And there's no indication of what's right or wrong. So,
right,
like, I
right.
beat a boss just by jumping next to it a few times.
But
Um,
like I remember like they were trying to like work out in their head like, oh, this type of enemy looks like I need to be the wolf, to like get this dash attack or whatever.
Right.
And it was like, nope, I killed it as the pig for some reason. Like it was very, I don't know, it just didn't seem like anything you did mattered. Um, it- yeah, I was really curious about this game because I didn't know if this was like a kids game or who it was designed for. because I think even my kids would get frustrated with that. Honestly, that
I
randomness.
was actually specifically going to say, Kappa, do not get this for your kids. Like, just play, like, have them replay Mario Odyssey. It has the whole costume premise and is a much better game, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's just not like, it's not worth it, man.
That
Um,
that's really the way I feel about it is like just watching it, I was like, this isn't gonna be something that's fun. It didn't have that fun angle. I mean, it had that cute angle, but not that fun angle. Like I think that was one of the big knocks on Viva Pinata when it released way back when. A lot of people are like, it's cute, it's adorable, it's charming, it's boring. And that's kind of what I'm getting from watching this.
yeah, it is. I would say it's not even that cute or adorable or charming. It's cute and adorable and charming in the trailers. When you actually play the game, it's just kind of it's just kind of frustrating. It also doesn't control well. The camera's awful and kind of has a mind of its own. Um, it feels like movement is locked to axes almost, even though it's not exactly. But like you can't turn finely. You like turn at 45-degree angles and have to readjust with the camera. Um, what else is bad about it? Uh,
This game is shit.
yeah, graphically it's higher fidelity than say Super Mario Odyssey, but art direction wise just doesn't look as good. And it runs like shit on the Switch. Um,
Ooh, yeah.
it
Mm.
runs like at 20 frames per, maybe 30 frames per second. I think it's at 20. And like
God,
comparing that to Mario Odyssey, which just ran butter smooth, it's not acceptable. Um, so
And
yeah,
I've never
this is a
the Switch being
disaster.
hard to design for. It always seems like the Switch is, if you can get Wrestling Empire out there, right?
Yeah, but that's the funny part about Wrestling Empire. It's so slow down sometimes, but he was like, the guy was on Twitter all the time. I can like run it on 60 FPS with like 20 people in the ring, and it doesn't slow down nearly that much as the game you said, Merv.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, this game does not have chows, but it does have Tims. So,
God.
Well,
um,
that justifies everything then. If I get another fucking cow garden,
but you don't. You get a Tim garden.
yeah, but can I make them eat peacocks?
What you do is, I don't even really know what you do with them. You get like, instead of coins, you collect drops of different colors, and then you feed the drops of different colors to your Tims, and then they look happy, but I don't think it actually does anything.
Oh, so you don't get like the horrific chimera KOs then?
Yeah, you can't like fuck up your chows and turn them evil and shit. Um, I don't think you can do that
Well,
in this game. So yeah, Balan Wonderworld. It's good. I will put good money on this being on most critics' worst of the year list. It's coming out in 2 months. Maybe they'll turn it around. I don't know. Um, but this is gonna be a train wreck when it comes out. It's gonna get savaged unless the rest of the game
it's
is
coming
better.
on everything, right? Like it's not I
Yeah.
think it's Xbox,
yeah, it's not like
PlayStation,
an
and
Xbox,
Switch, right?
PlayStation, PC.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
PC, Switch, PS4, PS5,
Oof.
One, and XS.
Oh
So
God, that's a lot.
Yeah.
yeah,
That might be something about why it can't run for anything. This might be kind of
Yeah,
one of those games you focus on getting out for Switch first, get a little
yeah.
bit of buzz, and then
But
run with
like
it from
said
there.
before, like the problem with the Switch is like loads of games, like even big published ones, have like horrible frame options. It's
Yeah.
like really bad.
Looking at
yeah.
you, old Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a Switch version of Cyberpunk? That would be hilarious.
Oof.
All right, so that's what we've been playing. Let's move on to what we're going to talk about for the rest of this episode, which is a segment we're calling Gaming Moods. Although I don't know if that's a name that's really reflective of what we're going to be doing here. Um, so here's how the segment's going to work. I'm going to give you folks a prompt, and then you'll just reply with a game, and then you can defend your choice if you want. It doesn't matter. There are no points. There are no winners or losers in this game.
Yeah,
Um,
there's no winners or losers. What the fuck am I doing here then? I was here to win.
You're here to win. You aren't here to make friends. You're here to win. You'll get the immunity idol. So, uh, so a prompt might be something like, "What's a game you play on a rainy day?" Or "What's a game that reminds you of childhood?" Um, so we're going to try to come up with a list of games for a bunch of scenarios that I'm going to list. They're mostly pretty normal scenarios. There might be some surprises in there. We'll see. Uh, so let's start with let's actually start with that. What is a game that you play when it's raining outside?
All right, I'm gonna start this with probably the most predictable one I might come up with, but I got to say ODST. That whole game kind of has that rainy Sunday type chill vibe with its like kind of like jazz soundtrack, right?
Yeah,
The stages all kind of end on like maybe like a little bit of a bummer. It kind of just moves through the each little area in the city, and it all kind of just feels overcast and gray and gloomy. It's got a lot slower pace than some of the other Halos. I mean, obviously, I love Halo, but there's just something about that game where like I just like imagine like that smooth, jazzy sound, with like rain on top of like the ODST helmet, walking through New Mombasa, just kind of hopelessly facing an enemy you can't win against. I just really kind of get that feel, that kind of like I don't know, slow progressing, stomping vibe to it. And that would probably be mine one, like a nice rainy day action game.
yeah, because it actually it starts off with you in the rain, right? Like
Right.
in the
Yeah.
dark. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
trying to
There's like a kind of
remember.
like a thunderstorm in the distance, and like you're going to get out of your drop pod, and you're starting to really like kind of take in how bad it is, I guess, down there. And then like the soundtrack kicks in, and usually in all the other previous Halo games, the soundtrack is just like driving guitar
Yeah.
or like this like thumping kind of like let's go kick ass. And ODST is like kind of the opposite. It's like like this ain't gonna end well, kind of a feel to it. And I think the soundtrack for me is always one of my top soundtracks because of stuff like that. But the soundtrack sets the mood almost before the game even starts. So, and
Yeah,
then the visuals you get are instead of like this bright ring of Halo, where you're like getting ready to go kick some ass and be master. So you're not going to be kicking ass as Master Chief. You're going to be kind of playing a whole different experience, and that's going to be that's setting the tone right off the bat. That's something I really enjoyed, at least those first couple opening minutes, making it feel so different.
yeah, absolutely. It's especially in the soundtrack. It's very kind of gloomy old Hollywood.
Right.
Um,
That's a good
in
way
the
to put it.
nighttime sections, and I think it goes well with the idea that it's raining outside in the city. Um, what would the rest of you folks play on a rainy day?
Yeah, it's been raining like a real lot lately here, and like a lot of wind. So yeah, in the start of quarantine, I was like outside a lot and went for walks a lot, but it's like endless rain. It's like that kind of rainy, like five Celsius, which is like not too cold, but like irritating cold.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've like picked my DS up from storage, and I just planted it beside my bed. So when I wake up or go to sleep, I just play like on my DS. So yeah, I've been playing Advance Wars Dual Strike, which is like a huge favorite of mine. It's like such a great game. It's I think one of the last games they did in the Advance Wars series. Maybe it's the last. I can't remember. It's just like perfect turn based stuff. It's fast moving and it's like really fun. Yeah, I really suck at it also, so it takes me a while to clear a level, so that helps. And I'm still like keeping myself away from like putting a TV in my bedroom because otherwise I will never leave my
Right.
bed. So yeah, I've
yeah.
been just like playing a lot of handheld things.
I've definitely had like this is gonna sound kind of gross, toilet games before.
Oh
Like
God.
you take your handheld into the bathroom with you and you just like
Yeah.
poop for longer than you need to.
Well, it's not different than having a magazine in there, really.
Yeah. Um,
When your legs start to go numb because you've been sitting there playing Shovel Knight for like an hour and a half.
yeah, I've had well, I haven't played Shovel Knight, but I've had similar experiences. So yeah. What else would you folks play on a rainy day?
I don't think I
Rainy
have a.
game, I reckon I'd go for like comfort games. So probably Mega Man 1, which is a game
Mm.
play a lot. Like, I've played that game so many fucking times to the point where like could kind of go through the levels without really thinking, and it's just like a nice way to relax, I guess. Like that game kind of sucks, but I kind of love it because it sucks.
Do you like speedrun it when you're playing it?
I probably could if I tried, but no, it's just like a chill out thing. Like
Okay.
run through Cutman's level. Like
Interesting. And Hobbs, what about you? What would you play on a
I
rainy day?
I don't think I have a specific game. I feel like it's more of a I'm gonna get stuck into something because we're not gonna go anywhere, and I'm gonna have most of the day to play it. So like, why don't I start a new campaign in Crusader Kings or um, play continue playing quests in Valhalla, something like that.
Okay, so you're just like, this is a good opportunity for me to pick up where I've left off.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
not going to have any interruptions. Like I can play until I get sick and tired of it. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. All right, let's move on to the next one. Um, what's a game you play when you're, let's keep this positive. What's a game you play when you're happy?
Okay.
Mm. That's a good one.
I'll go Shovel Knight. Fucking love Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight's the best fucking game, and like it just. Have you guys played Shovel Knight? Shovel Knight's
No, I
really
can't.
Yes.
Yeah, but I quit like halfway because I'm fucking god awful at it.
like Shovel Knight. Every character ending in Shovel Knight is so wholesome and feel good, and it's just they're all so cute, and I love them. And Shovel Knight rules.
All right.
I kind of went cute. When you first said happy, I kind of went cute in my mind too. And I would think something like maybe like Plants vs Zombies, right? Like the
Yeah.
ultimate cute game. Like I think for me, where I know they try to build off of it, but maybe that original one where you start every match, you're just building these happy little sunflowers and these silly
Yeah.
little pea shooters and stuff. And even the zombies are goofy and fun. The entire thing I think is really just it's kind of like an exercise in how much cute can you go without going over the line. And damn, that ending song, right? I mean, the zombies on your lung song.
Oh yeah,
Wow,
it's
what a.
best.
I mean, it's hard not to play that game and at least have a smile on your face
Yeah.
the whole time, even when you lose. It's never feels frustrating. It's just like, a smooth afternoon type happy game.
Yeah, I had like a really stressful November, and I just like was like going through games I never played, and I decided to play like all the three of the Donkey Kong Country games. That are like games that make me really happy. They're like so fine-tuned and fun, but also like hard enough to really let me forget about stuff if I want to, and just like really cheer me up.
Those games looked amazing for their time. Like those were
They
SNES games.
they still look amazing.
Yeah, they hold
I
up,
played them
eh?
on the Virtual Console on the Switch,
Yeah.
and they still look like so good. It's insane.
Yeah, I
There's
don't
like
know. Sorry, go ahead,
water
Ben.
effect. There's a water effect in those levels where the water like goes up and down, and
Yeah,
see the top of the water is like perspective correct, like a 3D object, and I have no fucking idea how they did that.
yeah. They got like I was like watching some stuff on YouTube about it. They got like some of the really early CGI computers, like the really expensive ones, and they programmed on that, and then they like
That's when they did the like sprites and everything, and then they like rendered them to
yeah.
sprites and everything. I don't know how they did the perspective correct water though. That's
No
something else.
idea. Yeah, there's like a boss in I think it's 3, which is like a waterfall and keeps like shooting water, and it's like insane when you move up and down. Like most of the time in 2D platforms, you would get like really sick, like jumping down, and the screen keeps like chasing the same background. But this one, it's just like feels really good. It's really rare because like I get pretty sick of literally sick of 2D platformers when I fall down or rise up really fast because for some reason. But I never had that problem with Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I remember playing those games as a kid and like didn't really appreciate what was going on, and I like go back looking at them as an adult and like knowing how shit works, and it's just like, how the fuck are they doing this?
Yeah, it's insane. Like I just finished up 3, and 3 is like the weakest of the bunch, but it's still like lots of fun. But it's by far the best looking one, and it's insane that it's on like the Super Nintendo. It's like
And because they
so
didn't
good looking.
use like extra chips or anything, did they? Like Yoshi's Island.
I have no idea. I think they might have had met with 3, but I know 1 and 2 they didn't.
Yeah, we'll look it up. We'll toss that in the link dump.
That's a good link.
Yeah, I've actually been playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Oh, that's a great game also.
Yeah, and that's a game that I think I have to play when I'm happy, because it's really fucking hard. And if I were to play that, if I were feeling stressed or sad or angry, it would make me angrier. But when I'm feeling happy, I can kind of soak in the joy of the art direction and the level design and the music, and not feel so down when I fuck up, which is basically all the time because it's a really hard game. Um, so that's a game that I would play when I was happy. It's actually
Yeah,
a
a
really
big
good one.
part of my happiness with Donkey Kong was because I was playing on Switch, I can do like save states, and
Oh yeah,
that's saved my life. Otherwise, I would have been so angry.
that's
I'm
the
like
only way I'm
pretty
ever
bad
gonna
at
beat
it.
Mario Brothers.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I don't care about it. I just want to enjoy the game. So yeah, I'm gonna save states like all the time. But yeah,
Yeah, that's actually what I did with the. Although I never ended up beating it, that's actually what I did with the original Far Cry, which has checkpoints, but you can open up the console and save anywhere.
yeah,
So that's the only
Wait,
way to
the
beat the
original
original
Far
Far Cry.
Cry's a PC game, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it doesn't have quick saves.
it doesn't. It's checkpointed.
No,
The
it's
yeah,
all
it's
checkpoints. Yeah.
yeah,
They made a
checkpoints. Yeah.
PC first-person shooter without fucking quick saves.
Yeah, it's terrible.
it's
What the fuck?
Yeah, they were really proud about it when they launched it. Also,
yeah.
it's really weird.
It was considered one of the hardest games ever made. It well, not ever made, but the hardest games on the market at the time it came out. Um, this is before like the whole Demon Souls, Dark Souls revolution. Uh,
Right.
it was, and it was widely considered to be an amazing game when it came out, aside from the brutal difficulty. Uh, and then the other Far Cry's are completely different from Far Cry 1. Far Cry 1
Yeah.
was a linear first-person shooter with
Far Cry 1
huge
is
environments.
basically the prequel to Crysis.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. It's like a proto crisis. And Far Cry 2, I replayed last year, and it holds up pretty well. It's like pretty janky still, but it's like a really quite good open world game.
Like Far Cry 2 has such insane like systematic shit in it that like the
Yeah.
other games never even approach.
yeah, it was a weird game for sure. We'd like drive around. You didn't if you opened up the map, you were actually physically opening up the map in game.
Right.
Yeah.
What are other games you folks play when you're happy?
I think Stardew. That's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
that's a
like
good one.
Oh yeah.
Stardew, or I've been playing a Stardew-like game called Graveyard Keeper, which is pretty fun. Which is just a bit like it's same kind of style, but you
Yeah, I was gonna. That one looked really cool. I think they had a DLC for it too
yeah,
recently. I haven't checked it out, but it's kind of the same idea, right? You're like a
yeah.
graveyard guy. You can like either like bury the bodies or just like throw them in the river
Or you
and
can
like
make
tell
them.
the people. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. You can burn them. You can turn them into zombies, and have them like automate tasks around the place.
That's
It's
amazing.
pretty fun. It's kind of like in the humor. It's a little more humorous than Stardew. I would kind of call it like a demented Stardew. um, so it's still kind of that. And you got to do like little tasks for everyone, and they all like have a daily schedule that they follow. So if you miss someone on a certain day, you have to wait a whole week for them to show up again. There's a donkey that starts a communist revolution in one of the DLCs.
That's
He
incredible.
brings you the corpses every day, so you need him for like money. So he and the other donkeys get together and start a donkey revolution.
Interesting. I've hadn't heard of this game until 30 seconds ago, and now you've completely sold me on it.
The only reason I played it was because it showed up in a Humble Bundle. The Humble Choice subscription, so I don't like buy specific games unless like there's a real compelling need for me to do it anymore. I just wait each month and see what's on PS Plus or Humble Bundle. And this one was one of those that I was like, interesting. Like I'll probably play it randomly one day. And then I did that and I was like, wow, I've been playing this till like 3 a.m.
I love that feeling, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
Like just one more session or one more
Well,
turn.
because like like the trouble with uh a schedule for characters is like if you have a goal in mind and it's like a very kind of casualist game like Stardew, right? But you have a long-term goal, you're gonna forget about that the next time you open the game. So you want to complete it. But that means you have to wait a lot of in-game time to do it.
yeah, I always complain about was it Dead Rising? You know how that game
Oh
has its
yeah,
own
yeah.
little like calendar
Yeah.
or schedule, and like that one felt so frustrating. Whereas so like in that game, I'm like, oh man, I gotta go get this guy or I gotta go do this. Whereas in like
Right,
Stardew, I was like, I can't wait till next Thursday so I can go do this, right? Like
right.
it's such a different feeling. Like games like to put you on that schedule almost, and it does. In some games it feels awful, in some games it feels good. And I would agree that like Stardew does it well, where you're never feeling like, well, if I don't talk to this guy this Thursday, there's always next Thursday, right?
Right.
Or something like that, where other games want to put you under that time frame, and I hate it. And I like
Yeah.
some of the like the JRPGs that do that, where there's like almost like a you got to talk to this character at this time before you do this, otherwise you'll
Right.
never meet them or find them. That's just such a bad feeling,
Because
in
there's
gaming.
never it's not like you're ever just like killing time doing other tasks in the game, right? Like
Right.
there's always an objective to do or something like you're gonna go plant crops, so it doesn't matter that you missed a cart. And and then in like Dead Rising, like I have to go like fight this cult leader who's not very fun. Like the clown's a pain in the ass. But if I don't do that, then I like will lose access to a bunch of content in the
Right.
game and have to play a whole game before I can go back and do that over again.
Oh, that was the worst thing about Dead Rising.
Yeah,
It's like you can't do it all in one playthrough. So like the game's like, and I think the Hitman reboot also had some of that as well, where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
hope you like replaying stages because here you go, you're gonna play the stage 15 times if you want to
Yeah,
100% it.
but the Hitman reboot, it's really a lot faster pick up and play than Dead Rising. I've
yeah,
enjoyed it way more with Hitman than with Dead Rising. I had the same problems with Dead Rising. I just like near the end, I was like so frustrated with all the stuff I missed out because
Yeah,
there's like this really stupid boss I need to fight and I don't want to, so I didn't. So I can't go on another mission I did want to go on, but with
right.
Hitman it's like finding your way and you can do it this way, and this way. Yeah,
yeah. At least Hitman's a 15-minute mission reset, to
yeah,
Right.
go find the other thing. But yeah, Dead Rising's a 15-hour reset, and
yeah. It
it's these
sucks.
stupid prisoners driving around and shooting at me in this
Oh my
car,
God.
Oh
all
yeah,
over
that's
again.
the worst. Whoa.
Man,
Um,
the time machine in Dead Rising is my favorite part of it. I'm just sitting here listening to you guys like, what game are you playing? That shit rules.
I actually haven't played Dead Rising, so I can't comment on that.
It gets better in the later ones. The
Yeah.
first probably two is very frustrating. By four, it's like a background thing. It's
Yeah.
not
I think
the point of the game.
the time limit shit in the first one is only as bad as it is because the first one kind of plays like shit.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
The problem isn't really the time limit thing. The problem is having to do the fucking boss fights because they're bad.
And the first one ramps up to like you have to go get certain items and get certain things, otherwise you're going to be useless against certain bosses, right? So
Right.
you kind of fall into this pattern of like if I start the game, I go this, I go get the shotgun, I go do this, I go fight this guy, like
I
it
need that
feels like
hammer to beat that guy, so
See,
I'm gonna have to
that
run to
is
one part of the
yeah.
mall and then run back to the
Yeah.
next part of the
that kind of like structuring and figuring out the ideal path through the game was the entire thing I loved about it.
Well,
Like that shit just fucking clicks with me. Hey.
I think if it was just finding the ideal path, that'd be one thing. But there's a lot of times where the game's like, nah, you got to go do the other thing. Like, you're not going to do the opposite of an ideal path. You're going to do
Yeah.
in order to fight this guy, actually, you're going to wait through this day, and this guy's going to die, and this guy's going to die. But now this guy opens up. It's very kind of like you got to put the game in like 5 fail states to get a win state rather than the other way around.
Yeah, what Kappa said, with Hitman, it's just like finding the perfect way or another way. And with Dead Rising, there's also like always some stuff other that you need to clear before finding the way.
Right, yeah. I mean, it got better in the later ones. Don't get me wrong. I think by 3 or 4, they really kind of figured out. Okay, well, we don't want people to have to play poorly to get certain aspects. That's not fun for anybody. So, but yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned earlier that you like have a list of tasks that you have to do when you're playing the game, and you're like, I have to keep playing so I can finish this list of tasks before I forget what to do. I
Yeah.
actually used to have that problem with the Yakuza games until I realized I could just take out a post-it note and write down what I have to do next time. That's what I ended up doing, so I wouldn't play like Yakuza for 8 hours on end.
Yeah.
It's good
I
you
have
mentioned that, because in Zero, that was definitely one of my frustrations was when you're given that kind of like journal and there's 5 trillion things in that journal, you know what I mean? And you're on like step 1 of 7, but it's like, I don't need to go beat this guy up right now, even though he's going to take my money next time he sees me, It was very much like I can wait
Mr.
on a lot of this
Shakedown.
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
In Graveyard Keeper, you have to build a lot of like furniture or tools and stuff, and you have to build them in certain places. So like if you need a zombie mine at the quarry, so you need to haul all this crap to the quarry. And I always forget what I'm supposed to bring. So I write down the recipe for the mine or whatever on my notepad and just like quickly check it and then go check my inventory so that I don't go back and forth 3 or 4 times.
That's the smart thing to do. I think we sometimes forget when we're just like sitting at the computer. Wait, pencils and paper exist.
Oh man, I
Well,
love
there's
I
also
love a game that makes me do that. Get out that paper though. I'll tell you that. Anytime I'm looking for my graph paper, Maria knows I'm playing a good game. That's my wife. But she knows I'm playing a good game if I'm like, hey, where's my graph paper? She's like, oh, are you drawing a dungeon? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I just use the note function on my phone a lot for Yakuza and stuff like that.
I have like when I was
I'm
playing.
just taking photos of the screen a lot.
I've done that.
Oh yeah, when I was playing Paradise Killer, I had I think 2 pages of notes so I could keep track of who knew what at what point. I think I did the same for her story as well. I had like 2 pages of notes all written up. So let's move on. What's a game you play? What's an ideal autumn game?
Ooh, that's
Okay,
a good
this
one.
one's kind of fucked for me because we have 2 seasons when it's hot or rainy. We don't have autumn or winter or spring or summer. Like,
Yeah, you just have. So I guess for you, the question becomes, um, what if you were to move down to the southern tip of Tasmania? What game would you play in like March?
I think if I had
highly relatable fucking hypothetical situation. If I go live with my sister in Launceston, what video games am I gonna play?
See, you have family there. It's perfect.
I think if I had to pick my fall game, I think I'd go with maybe just the Gears of War series. I'm not really sure. That's kind of like an emotional thing more than like an actual. I could base anything why. Maybe they kind of release in that time frame. Maybe it's kind of like the world is kind of brown, you know, kind of dead and buried over and everything. That just kind of got that autumn feel to me for some reason. Not anything I can really
See
base on
that
any
if
action,
you're
but
only talking about the first three, I
yeah,
don't reckon 4 and 5
Yeah.
fit that.
4 and 5 might be more summer, right? But like the first three kind of have that feel of like I don't know that kind of like the world is kind of
Decay. That's-
decaying and not like overbearingly so. Like it's not dead. It's just in the process of getting there. So
beginning of decay, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'd
Sorry,
do
go ahead.
something kind of like steampunky. I think I would do like Frostpunk or which just came out, Iron Harvest, which is like the World War One but with mechs.
the game that
It's
got me
interesting
banned
you
from
mentioned
Destiny.
Frostpunk because I would like call that a winter game, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's coming, right? Like that's kind of the nature of fall. Is like
yeah.
winter's about to get really cold, which is the whole story in Frostpunk.
Okay, yeah, I can
The
see that.
goal the goal in Frostpunk is to get to fall even like if you, not even summer, just get to fall.
Um, I was gonna say Ghost of Tsushima, which I played mostly over summer, but I think I finished it. By the time I finished it, it was fall. Um, so much
Oh,
of that game looks like it takes place during autumn, like there are
yeah.
falling leaves everywhere, um, and it doesn't look like it's summer outside. It has that feeling of early fall with um, with just the look of the world. That's what I would pick. Another one would be Night in the Woods, but that's not a game that I unfortunately really liked all that much. But that's a
Dude,
game that's like set in fall.
What was that?
yeah, that's very fall-like.
What was the damn? Everybody's gonna say it as soon as I say it, but the Watchtower one, where you're in the woods.
Firewatch.
Firewatch. Yeah, that would
Firewatch,
maybe be
yeah.
another good fall one.
Yeah.
You know, that kind
Yeah,
of.
that's kind of summery still, I thought.
It's late summer is when it takes
Yeah, it's
place.
late. Yeah, I think a choice I was thinking of is like the first Fable. It's like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's pretty onto me. I played it like last year, like in the start of the winter. I replayed it, and it's very autumny. There's like leaves everywhere. It's very brown by design. It's
Yeah.
just like kind of warm. It's
Yeah.
warm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really,
The
really
first two
nice.
Fable games have that like burnt orange feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like everybody's got kind of different autumn, right? Like I live in the
Right.
southeast, so autumn to me is basically just like in late summer all through the year, and then it just gets cold out of nowhere one day. So I think that's kind of like interesting to see how everybody's got a little bit different take on what autumn even is. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I
like
used to live in
We don't really
California,
get winter anymore, so
and
just got like autumn
yeah.
for like 6 months. It's insane.
New England's always like tree color. I was kind of thinking Animal Crossing New Horizon, even though I had
Yeah.
it and did not play it this autumn. But because like the leaves change in that
Yeah.
game, that's kind of what I associate with that. Is that you know color.
I used to live out in LA, and there what
Where
happens in
there are
autumn,
no seasons.
Yeah.
yeah, it gets the
The day when it
leaves.
rains and then every other day.
Yeah,
basically.
so the weird thing about autumn in LA is that the leaves fall off the trees, but it doesn't get that much colder. So the leaves will fall off the trees and it'll still be 20 Celsius outside. And like this
Yeah,
is early summer weather.
that's like problem we also got like in the start of or autumn it's like still like 20, 24. It like slowly slides to like 15, and in November it takes like all the summers a dive from like 15 to like 2, like in a week. It's not very fun.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, I've been inside all year, so I haven't really experienced seasons since moving back from California. Um, but like it's been interesting to kind of see how the seasons feel different depending on where you are geographically, because I'd never really had that until I started moving around the globe. Um, Ben, any chance you want to talk about your Southern Tip of Tasmania game?
Yeah, I've never had a fucking autumn. I don't know what to say.
That's all right.
um, I'm just trying to think. The closest thing I ever had to living in autumn would have been when I lived in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, in which case I only had DOS games. So let's say fucking, what's the one? Monster Bash, where your pets get stolen and it's all Halloween themed.
Yeah. I think I remember
That's
that
good
game.
stone. It sounds very familiar.
It's
I know.
oh gosh.
I'm thinking of Day of the Tentacle, but it's not Day of the Tentacle.
I'm fucking telling you,
Maniac
it's Monster
Mansion?
Bash. I remembered the name.
Oh.
Okay.
You're a little kid in footy pajamas and you have a slingshot and all the pets got stolen.
Howling Harry?
No, he just told you the game was called
What is
Monster
the name of
Bash.
it?
Monster
Monster
Bash.
Mash? I thought you had it.
Oh yeah, it is. Isn't that like an Apogee game?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Maybe
played that. It's pretty
Did it have
good.
a different name in the U.S. maybe?
No, it was definitely called Monster Bash. I
No,
remember
it's
this
called
game.
Monster Bus overall. I think it used to be called Graveyard in Development. When I read about Apogee, like it was like one of their games they tried to make big, but like kind of just became like one of those middling titles they had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
weird
didn't.
because
It didn't take off like Keen or Duke Nukem or those games.
I originally thought you were talking about Halloween Harry, which was definitely not a slingshot game, but you know,
Yeah,
No,
still
that
a
game was not great.
no. Well, in my defense, my whole Apogee era was me going to a flea market, getting games from a guy who just called them whatever he wanted for a long time. I had no idea what the games were actually called. Like he'd just write a name on a disc and it'd be like Killing Guy, and it was actually Doom, or whatever. But yeah, that was all my early games were very much, like how people have that thing with Napster, where they always think like every Tenacious D song is actually Weird Al for some reason or something like that. That was my early video gaming experiences too.
Yeah, I just kept thinking about the pinball game because there's like a pretty famous Williams pinball also called Monster Bash. So.
Yeah, pinball is actually kind of like the perfect autumn game because I feel like after you spend the whole summer running around outside, you filter back into the arcades in the fall when it gets colder out.
Yeah. But it's like the Monster Ball pinball game. It's like really weird. It's like about universal monsters like forming a band. It's like the creature from Black Cocoon, Wolfman, and Frankenstein, and they like all play drums and guitar, and you try like to get them to play like a concert. It's extremely weird.
So, do you think if Universal had done that for their Dark Pictures anthology
Oh yeah.
instead of whatever the fuck
Yeah.
they actually did, it would have been a success? Like just turn them all into musicals?
Yeah.
Rock musical.
I
Monster
think
rock musical.
I think if the new Resident Evil stuff has taught us anything, I don't think that's the direction they should have went with. They should have just went with making everybody a giant and really, really, really pretty, and that would have worked fine. That's what the internet wants.
The internet wants monsters who can step on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this news to anyone? Let's be real.
Yeah. I've spent a lot of time in fandom spaces, and yeah.
It's been a while since people have been as horny for something as they are for the giant MILF vampire.
Oh, well, that's gonna be. I'm telling
It's
you, that game actually releases.
it's not at Bowsette levels, but like it's up there.
It's pretty fucking close.
Um,
Although I
okay.
have to admit, I did love when the new Mario trailer came out with the big fucking like giant oily black Bowser. What's that fucking game called?
Super Mario
Bowser's
3D World
Fury?
plus Bowser's Fury.
Yeah. So now there's tons of art of Godslayer Bowsette.
Oh yeah, I remember some of that. It was interesting,
Graphic.
to say the least. All right. What's the first game you play after winning the lottery?
Ooh, I like that one. You know what? I'm gonna go.
Expensive game you can buy.
Yeah, right.
Oh, see, I
You
would
can
go.
get-
Go ahead.
No, no.
I think I'd do
go on.
something like SimCity or something like that. Just something where
Yeah.
you like sit down and like just like plan out weird shit and spend a lot of money in it. So yeah, SimCity might be a good one. You know, just that feeling of like, yeah, maybe I will buy a city or build all this stuff, or thinking about zoning and taxes and I don't know, bigger picture type stuff. I think that might be interesting to me. Do something like that.
See, I would do that, but with
First
like,
game I would buy after winning. The first game I would play after winning a lottery is I would buy 4 of those Japanese Gundam arcade games that have a
Oh
giant
God.
fucking cockpit that you sit in.
Yeah.
My mates around, and we would fucking play that all day because I just won the lottery. Fuck you.
Yeah. Those used to be awesome. They had those at Dave and Buster's, and they'd actually like you had to climb a ladder to get in them. And it's like the whole like screen stomps around when you go. I love those things.
Yeah, the arcade one in the city near me used to have one, but they like sold it. It was like really fun. I would just like buy a VR set and like play Half-Life Alyx, because otherwise I would never, pretty much.
oh yeah, that VR is still prohibitively expensive for me.
Yeah.
Um, I would probably do that. The other thing, if this is like a fantasy lottery where it's like billions of dollars, I would open up Roller Coaster Tycoon, build a park, then show it to someone and be like, build this for me.
You could just wasn't like the last lottery like $1 billion or something. Like you could just start a development studio to do your own game and not give them any timeline, right? Like get your perfect game. You're the only customer that matters.
And yeah, you end up with Star Citizen. That's the problem.
I was gonna say the last really rich dude. You should like Hobbs. You of all people should know about rich dudes who don't know shit about video games trying to make a video game and then kind of fucking over a state.
Well, yeah.
Look, as long as you don't care about the state of Rhode Island, it's fine.
Who does though? I mean, really, more like the city of Rhode Island.
um,
I don't fucking work in
Not according to
geography.
anyone who lives outside of it.
yeah.
Actually, no. Okay, what's the game they play called in the Most Dangerous Game book? Does that have a name?
I think it's just called the most dangerous game.
Yeah, it's called the Most Dangerous Game, or Hunting.
Yeah, so let's try that. I mean, if I'm like
Your game would be hunting a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little bit psychopathic.
Like
I mean,
murder.
you're in
Yeah, I just want to
Australia.
kill people if I get really rich.
I mean, he's in Australia already. You got like enough space for it, so.
Yeah, you just find an island and lure a ship in, and you got it, right? That's
Oh,
the story.
Island. Fuck
If
that,
we're
you
getting
got
real
it.
crazy with it,
Lottery.
what was the name of the game in Ender's Game they play? Like that zero grav thing where they have to get the ball, or they have
Oh
to get.
fuck! If we're doing anything, I'm inventing Blitzball.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
How is that old 70s movie called? Rollerball, something like that?
Yeah,
Oh,
but that
yeah.
one kills you if you do badly at it.
Oh, okay, so we're just making Running Man now, right? We're gonna do the Running Man game.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say
Running Man.
Quidditch,
Fuck yeah.
but like, because that doesn't
Nah,
kill
bro,
you.
we're going a different way. Come on, go dark with us. we want people.
I mean, if you want to go dark with it, I would just pick like, um, I was gonna say Hannibal, but that's not a game. That's just eating people.
Yeah. Merve's like, oh, Running Man. Nah, I want to eat people.
We could do Gamer with
I
Joel
want to
Nutt.
be Mets.
Hunt, kill him. No. We gotta eat him. We gotta open brain.
Eat him slowly. And
Hannibal,
like,
the game doesn't
brain.
even exist. Merve's just revealing some psychological aspects here.
Vor is completely healthy as long as you don't act on it.
Yeah.
That's recorded now for forever, and I can't take that back.
That'll be submitted at your court hearing.
Oh, God. Things that you expect Ben to say, but that Merv just says out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, any other lottery games y'all want to mention before we move on?
I want to jump back to in Ender's Game. Wasn't there like a kind of like fucked up manhole thing that he had to play where like he like was a
Yeah,
giant that he like scooped the eye out of or something?
yeah, like that revealed like how he could think outside of certain
Right.
criteria, and it revealed that like I can't remember if it was actually the aliens talking to him that way, or if it
Right.
was him beating the game allowed him to talk to the aliens because it like opened up his mind to other possibilities. But yeah, there was something like that too.
Who would ever develop a game?
Yeah, I know.
I have
Yeah.
no
Well, if I was
idea
going to develop a crazy game, like if I won the lottery and I was going to develop something, what was the game of the last Starfighter where you do the Death Blossom and then it's like, yeah, actually, here's a real starship. Now go save the universe. Like that would be
Right.
something really crazy if you made a game like a real dumb bullet shooter and the first person to beat it, you're like, actually, here's your starship.
Did anyone ever watch the fucking Clerks cartoon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
The fucking pyramid building game?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. So, let me give you a scenario. We're all alone in the basement. You're sitting on one of those old fluffy couches, the kind that you've like lost a whole bunch of pencils and marbles and other shit between the cushions over the years. You got a big
Oh, man,
bag.
this is getting romantic.
Like,
Losing
this is
things in the
romantic to
couch
you? Is this like
good
a fuck
idea.
couch to you? um,
Sitting alone in the basement together? Oh, Merv.
Wow.
all right. Talk to me after the podcast. You got a big bag of your favorite Doritos, so nacho cheese, obviously, Cool Ranch if you're nasty, and you got a liter of Mountain Dew. You put your feet up on the rickety coffee table in front of you, and you turn on your TV. Which game do you fire up?
Mm. I'm probably going to go with something like a
Weirdest fucking
GTA.
situation.
like a GTA or like a Red Dead or something like long open world. Just get lost in the whole thing for as long as I can.
I feel like
Probably GTA.
GTA is a really good Doritos and Dew game.
My mind
Yeah, right.
automatically goes back to like, it feels like I'm younger and playing games like when I was a teenager or something. So probably Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. I could definitely see any kind of open world game that kind of lets you shift gears, right? Like, go action, go this, go that, but that kind of broad open world would kind of be my thing too.
I'm thinking like PS2 games like Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank.
Sly Raccoon.
Yeah. Sly Cooper? Do you say Sly Raccoon?
Oh, yeah, it's Sly. I mean,
Yeah.
Sly Cooper, yeah.
Yeah, Sly
actually.
Cooper. Like one of those like character action kind of games for the PS2 era. That's what I would do.
Oh fuck you, Merv! None of those games are character action games. Just do a video game podcast. Learn what game genres are.
Fine. Sorry, character action only applies to your Bayonettas and your Devil May Cries and your, I guess, Dante's Infernos. I don't know. Sorry, your 3D action platformers of the PS2 era.
That's better. I accept your apology.
You happy, Ben? Mr. No Agenda? What would the rest of y'all play on your Doritos and Dew night?
I don't want to be a stereotype, but like, multiplayer shooter. I think, like, I don't know. I wouldn't
Like you're not a Doritos and Dew
Doritos
guy?
at the same time.
You accidentally might see yourself like in the mirror and just everything would just come rushing in all at
Right.
once, right?
Oh God, what have I done?
Yeah, my problem
But
with this is Mountain Dew's repulsive, and I'm never fucking drinking that shit.
but yeah, I think I would probably get yelled at by 12-year-olds. That would be my ideal.
Yeah.
Racial slurs sent over the internet towards me. That would be the probably what I would expect from that scenario. I don't know why, but yeah, I feel like you're in that state. You're kind of like in a shut out the world, misanthropic place. So why not have immunity at its dregs in video games.
Yeah. I think we've kind of run the gamut of like what Doritos and Dew means to us. Um,
Yeah, I just like I would play like something like Soul Calibur or something like that. Just like that reminds me of like my teens, like sitting down with my friends or alone and just like endlessly going through the motions.
yeah, fighting games are a good
Yeah.
like kind of old school Doritos and Dew kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's do another one. Your mom decides she wants to stand over your shoulder and comment on everything you're doing. Which game do you play?
Rampage Universal Tour on the N64.
And why is that?
Yeah.
Because me and my mum beat that game in co-op.
That works.
I was homesick from school one day, and Mum took me to Civic Video to hire out a game, and I hired out that because I'd been really sick for a couple of days, and me and Mum sat down and played through that entire game in one sitting.
That is a wholesome childhood memory. Yeah. What else
Mum
would
has
you...
no idea what it's called. She just calls it the Lizard Puncher game. Look, she's not wrong.
No.
I mean, you punch lizards. What else are you gonna do?
But
Um,
you're a lizard and you punch people. Have you not played Rampage?
I mean, somebody's getting punched and somebody's a lizard. Doesn't really matter in what configuration. Um, no, I have
I
not played Rampage.
um, my mom's kind of got like a dark streak, so I think I'd go some like maybe like BioShock or something. She's really into kind of like darker like kind of shows and stuff like that. So I think she'd appreciate something like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay, but if you're doing that with your mum watching, are you saving or are you eating the little sisters?
Oh yeah, I'm eating them.
Yeah,
She's got to get the full BioShock experience if we're doing it.
Yeah, my mom is like the anti-gamer. She doesn't understand like computers still some years ago. And I will just be playing like Animal Crossing or something, and I can just like explain it. It's kind of like real life, but like a deserted island kind of real life. So yeah, I'm just gonna dig over there and I'm gonna plant it and I'm gonna talk to my neighbors.
I don't think my mom is really like big on like my mom does not like violence at all. So it'd have to be
So
something
you're going Mortal Kombat?
like I don't think I think she'd just be like ugh and make a noise of disgust. I don't think she thinks Mortal Kombat is like morally reprehensible or anything. She's not the kind of person who wants to ban violent video games or anything like that. She just doesn't want to experience them herself. Um, so I think I could play something like a 3D Mario game in front of her, and she wouldn't
Oh
have
yeah.
that many questions, and she wouldn't think it was like unacceptably violent. Or I could play something like Roller Coaster Tycoon in front of her, and it's pretty straightforward, and she would question my business decisions. But other than that, I think I could tolerate having my mom.
And she'd be like, oh god, I've raised a nerd playing fucking tycoon games.
I mean, I think my mom is I think my mom was very happy that she raised a nerd up until I decided I wanted to go get a doctorate. And then she's just like, "What have I done?" Um, so don't raise nerds. You'll send them to grad school, and then they'll regret all their life choices. Um, so, Hobbs, what about you? What game would you play with a
Well,
parent
okay, so
watching over your shoulder?
I couldn't do any violence. I've made that mistake before. Um, I think also it would need to be kind of a visually striking game that like lean more towards art kind of style. And then I can't think of like what because she's not going to follow the plot. She's not going to like pay attention to what's happening outside of like the extreme moments of violence if it's a violent game. I'm
Can I
trying to think
suggest the
like
perfect one?
Yeah, go for it.
El Shaddai Ascension of the Metronome for the 360. It's one of the most visually striking games ever made, and the plot's already nonsensical, so she doesn't have to follow shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a like simple mechanic journey, something like that, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
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 Maybe like Flow, something like
yeah, flow.
What's the fucking swimming one that's like Journey?
Abzu.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty.
I think I think I could show that to my mom, but she'd be like, "What are you even doing? We're
Yeah,
barely
yeah.
interacting
That's
with
my mom
this.
too.
Why is this a game?"
My
And I have
my
to
mom is
explain the
very
concept
plot
of art
driven.
games to my mom.
Right.
Like, no, mom, I'm more pretentious than you think I am.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Abzu's pretty good. So this is not like me shitting on art games or whatever. Um, it's just hard to explain them to someone who hasn't played a lot of video games.
There was one game where you had to like unspool thread around a wooden toy, uh, or maybe spool it. I forget. Like that's something my mom would understand, but it would also be like it's not a very engaging game.
Yeah,
It's like it's really games trying to do something that you can physically do in your hands, and there's nothing particularly necessary about it as a video game, which is a shame.
yeah. I get the sense with especially games like simulators. Like if I were to play Euro Truck in front of my mom, she'd just be like, "Why would you just go drive a truck?"
It's pointless.
Yeah,
You should be doing this and earning money.
yeah. Um, so let's do another one. Uh, you are an Egyptian pharaoh and you just died. Which game would you have placed in a canopic jar next to your sarcophagus?
Pharaoh.
All right.
Cleopatra and
I
Pharaoh.
want to like fuck people up and be like, what were they into then? So I'm gonna do something like Katamari. You know what I mean? Just like a real like mind fuck of a game or something. Just like what is even this about? Like, did they worship gathering up trash and rolling it in balls, or like just something really wild and crazy like that? That doesn't really have a story or a plot past these planets. And I have a feeling like they'd maybe like create this whole like was this the gods they worshipped actually, and they thought of the planets like this, and like like they'd create like a whole cosmology around like
Ancient
the ancient
Egyptians.
people actually worshiping, and doing all this stuff in Katamari. And like, well, the
Kind
ancients
of,
were really involved in like rolling up trash apparently.
yeah, they had a
So,
very complex video gaming system where memorialized their inherent need to pile trash into a ball.
right, exactly. They were
Yeah.
they were obsessed with cleanliness and like their gods were monsters
Not many
basically.
people know this, yeah. They got orders from their weird universal king.
Yeah, yeah. He was also funny, but also a jerk. So,
If I were a
Yeah, my
pharaoh, sorry, go ahead, Preston.
oh yeah, continue.
Oh, I was gonna say if I were a pharaoh, Egyptians loved cats, right? I would pick
sure.
I would pick a cat-based game like Cat Lateral Damage or the upcoming Stray, a game that like showed off how much I, as a pharaoh, loved cats. That's what I would do.
Did that one about breeding the best cat come out?
Eugenics? No, I
Yeah,
think it was put on indefinite hiatus. That was the Edmund McMillan game, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it ever came out. So no Mugenics, which is a little bit of an unfortunate name.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Like,
yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
bring some different ideas to mind. Then, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I reckon it's got to be Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy for the original Xbox, right?
yeah, you
Oh,
gotta get a
God,
mummy-based game
that's
in there for sure.
Or
yeah.
like the Mummy Demastered, or fucking. Actually, yeah, screw it. I'm going Dark Universe, the one tie-in video game that failed experiment ever got. It was actually weirdly really good. The Mummy game based on the Tom Cruise movie,
Yeah, you're talking about like the was it a D-make or whatever they called it?
Demastered.
Demastered, yeah, that's it.
That game ruled.
What kind of game is that? Is it like a
It's
2D
a
side scroller?
side-scrolling Metroidvania. It's made
Yeah.
by like the Shantae people.
If you looked at it, you would probably think it's literally like an NES, no, maybe like an SNES era type game that has basically nothing at all to do with the Mummy. So-
Oh, it's so much better than that. If
Yeah.
you play the game, it completely invalidates the plot of the Mummy.
yeah. It's like they made it like in a vacuum, and like somebody just said, "Yeah, just put the Mummy on whatever you guys end up making." And it's weird.
Yeah, that was a good choice because the plot of that movie is like complete garbage. It's like one of the worst plots
You know, like
ever.
Spec
Oh.
Ops, archaeologist, Man About
Yeah.
Town, Tom Cruise. That scene at the very beginning is one of the dumbest scenes in movie history, where he's like basically Indiana Jones but working for the army, and they all
Yeah.
like land and they're like, "What are you doing? You're a loose cannon stealing relics and sleeping with women. You're such a cad, Tom Cruise." And then they just kind of fly off. It's bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand what the whole idea of an army archaeologist is. That just doesn't seem like a thing.
He
Yeah.
just blows up stuff. I think he wants to fight. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. He calls in airstrikes so that he can, rather than dig up stuff, he just calls it an airstrike, and then it leads him to tombs. Apparently.
Well, you don't want to destroy something without knowing how important it is to another culture.
That does sound very American. So
Yeah, honestly, when I see that kind of shit in a movie, I'm just like, yeah, because America has archaeologists in their army. They're fucking stupid.
Definitely don't. The opposite. Like, hey, is there somebody we can find who can like gather up all these museum things and put them somewhere else so they don't get blown up? But nah, I don't think if we have anybody who airstrikes our digs just to not have to dig. Apparently.
There's probably a contractor who was like, we could probably put an archaeologist on staff.
Yeah. Like somebody saw the Monuments Men and took the whole wrong idea or something with it. Yeah.
oh, or what was that Nick Cage movie? Fuck, I forgot.
National Treasure.
National
where you
Treasure?
Yeah,
steal
National
the-
Treasure.
We have to steal the Constitution
Yeah.
or the Declaration of Independence. I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
a
like two
game.
of them.
That's actually gives you a really good idea. It would really fuck people up if you were a pharaoh and you put a game about American history like 1,000 years into the future.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
no.
gonna say, like,
You
So
know
like put
what
Ask Creed 3 in your canonic jar.
No, the best one to put in there would be what was that first-person shooter series on the Wii? Fuck, The Conduit 2. Because
Oh
the
God.
that's the game that ends with fucking George Washington and Abraham Lincoln coming through an alien space portal to save the world, and that would fuck people up.
It's like a game nobody has thought about in like 15 years.
I didn't even know
That
this game
fucking
existed.
lives in my head rent-free just because of that ending cutscene. It's
What was-
the
You could
wildest
play to
shit.
the aliens. You could play to the ancient aliens theory people and have like a Assassin's Creed 2 in there.
What was the From
Yeah.
Software game where you play as the president in a mech?
Armored Core?
No.
No.
It's way wilder than Armored Core.
Oh,
It's
no.
like the one that got remastered like a while back.
Metal Wolf Chaos.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, that's the one with the terrible cutscenes, like, right?
Oh, it's terrible all around. It was
cutscenes.
hilarious though.
Yeah,
it
I
was basically
remember it got like
Armored
remastered like 2 years back or something.
Core. I just remember
It
you
got
were
like a release for the PS4, I think. But I think Ben knows it.
Oh yeah, it got remastered entirely because of the fucking Super Best Friends doing a Let's Play of it, which got people fucking tweeting at FromSoft like, why aren't you doing this? And FromSoft are just like, why does everyone suddenly care about this game we released like 10 years ago?
All I remember is like President in a mech, and it's like the most like it's like I think the cover art was just like a giant mech with like an American flag and like explosions in the background.
You know how Americans make games about Japan that are like nothing like Japan, like Ghost of
Right.
Tsushima? That's Japan's version of that for America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and then people would be like, "Were the ancient Egyptians Reaganites?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My
Then you
game
have
of
to do it by
choice would be like something like I think some that would like really reflect my garbage state. So I was thinking like Lollipop Chainsaw on the Xbox.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a game I really love, but it's also pretty fucking garbage.
Ancient
I-
Egyptians loved cheerleaders. That's what we're
Oh,
going
man.
with.
Yeah. Loved Heads also, and loved Blood, loved James Gunn, loved Suda.
I remember I was just
Love
moving
Dragon
the
Force.
camera around, and I got an achievement in that game.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I looked it up how I got it, and I was like, "What?" I was like, I couldn't
Yeah,
see
there
what
is
was
one
going
if
on.
you try like to get up her skirt, and it's
Yeah.
like. Yeah, I also got it by accident because I
Same.
was trying to find a way out of the room.
There was a scene early on where like you're inside a bus basically, and I couldn't find the X to the bus, and I got it. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm in trouble now.
Yeah. All right. Let's do two more. What is the first game that comes to mind when I say the word potato?
I am bread.
Portal
I
2?
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but my first game is that bread physics platforming game. I am bread.
I am bread.
Yeah,
Keep in mind that I said potato, not bread. I'm just messing with you. I can see that.
It's the first game that comes to my mind. I don't know why.
That makes sense.
Potato
you
bread is a
mentioned
thing.
Briefly.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potato.
I used to make all my sandwiches on potato bread in high school.
I just went with Portal 2 because when you turn Gladys into a potato,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
goes, "I am a potato."
Yeah.
Yeah, my first thought was like Stardew. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of going.
Look,
See,
you
I
just bread out
associate
potatoes.
Stardew with turnips because of that whole. Remember when Nintendo last year did that Turn Up for Turnips campaign?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like they're like, and they call the games turnip based games. I was like, no, that's not a genre.
Kind of turn up, right?
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I would think like a farming game, like Farming Simulator is what I would think of. I know that's the easy answer.
Yeah.
yeah. My first thought was Stardew, and I don't even remember if you can like farm potatoes. I think you can't.
You can. They're really cheap.
Yeah, it's
I
been
think
like
in
ages
Harvest Moon,
since I
it's
played
the
it.
starter crop, right? In Harvest
Yeah.
Moon, maybe.
Oh,
Potatoes
yeah.
are like usually the easy starter crops in most
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, actually, another game I would think of is Genshin Impact. When you break open a crate, there's a chance that you'll just find a single potato in it. There are huge crates all over the map, and every time you break one open, you find a single vegetable in there. So like a single carrot, or a single potato, or a single sheaf of wheat, uh, which I think is hilarious. It's such a waste of materials to house just one potato in a huge barrel or whatever.
Yeah,
But
civilization with really inefficient shipping.
yeah, that is the world that Genshin Impact for you. They're just barrels with single potatoes in them lying all over dungeons. But yeah, that's what I think of when I think of potato. Um, all right, let's do one last one.
Okay.
You are an astronaut.
Mm-hmm.
I know, might be unrealistic, but you're an astronaut. Twitch has partnered with NASA to broadcast a game live from orbit. Which game do you choose to show off to the entire world from space?
I don't
think you'd have
know
to-
if it's got to be a space themed game, right? But maybe something like Kerbal, you know?
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
Asteroid. It's
Yeah,
got,
like,
it's
Show
got
off
that
Space Invaders just to fuck with them.
How's that game called with like the big evil star with like the voice bites? It's like a classic arcade game or something. Something star. Fuck.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Game.
it's one of the first game with voices in it.
Dennis?
God.
Star Fox. That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would show off something that everyone would recognize. So, like Pac-Man or uh, an up-resed version of Pong, something like that. That
Yeah,
everyone would
you'd
be
have
like,
to do like
yeah,
a ubiquitous game, right? Like that
yeah.
everyone would have. Otherwise, I don't know. People would be like, "That's weird. He paid for a World of Warcraft subscription."
That would actually be incredible. It's just like start playing World of Warcraft from the International Space Station.
Just like
Zero
load up
chapter,
a new
yeah.
character. Buckle up, Earth. We're gonna make a shaman. Maybe that'd be like one way to do it, is like a game that like you think like deserves more attention, that like people never really got to experience or see, or something like a personal fave.
I would try and go like the least interesting to watch game I could think of, like just out of spite for
Football
fucking
manager.
like I'm a fucking astronaut and NASA's like, yeah, you have to do your fucking Twitch agreement. Like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do Minesweeper. Like, I'm not even good at
Solitaire.
Minesweeper. I don't know how it works, but like, you're just gonna be like, click, click, oh, I lost. Start again. Click, click. Oh, I lost. Start again. Like,
Or do something like Skyrim, where like the first 50 hours of it are just you loading up mods, like going to Nexus and downloading mods. Like the people of Earth get frustrated, and you just like, okay, here starts my 250-hour playthrough or something.
It looks so
okay,
much
I have
better
to admit,
now.
fucking someone signs in to NASA's first game streamed from fucking space, and it starts off with the, oh, you're awake.
Everybody would freak out. Just like, make a wizard, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another good one would be like, you guys remember like the really, really early Star Wars games? There's like a line-based one, a vector-based one for the arcades. It's like Ancient.
Yeah. There were a
Was it the
lot of
one where
those
like you
back in
sit
the
in a
day.
pod and shoot at things almost?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember what that was called, but I remember it. It's
I think
like
it's called Star Wars. Like,
it might be. I mean, that was
Yeah.
before they got creative with stuff. So, but I remember exactly what you're talking about. Like you sit almost in a bubble, like a little
Yeah.
bubble, and there's you're the Millennium Falcon gunner almost look. I think it kind of like has like Rumble, if I'm not wrong, something like that. But yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, no, I would, oh, I'd be like, yeah, fucking buckle in. We're playing guys. Or like, does anyone even remember guys? Does that just
The fighting
go,
game.
Yeah, the old PS1 fighting game that has Cloud and Sephiroth. But no, we're going deep and we're doing the fucking like dungeon crawling arcade story mode that was really bad. Or like, I'm gonna like fucking, yeah, first game broadcast from space. Everyone loved Mace the Dark Age? 'Cause I do.
Or like Mortal Kombat Mythologies.
Oh God. What's next? Clay
Yo-
Fighter.
You know what I would do to fuck with people? I would pick a space horror game like Prey, but I'd run it on like the highest end machine possible, so it looked as like realistic as possible, so I could fuck with people and fool them into thinking that the space station had gotten taken over by weird alien mimic shape shifting dudes.
And just like never finish it, just like right at the end, pull the plug, and
Yeah.
people are like,
Yeah, the best idea is then to remaster the original Prey and skip like the whole introduction stuff with the bar and stuff, and just start in the space center.
yeah. What a weird movie that ended up being, or what a weird game that ended up being.
I like both like a lot. I played the original last year, and it's still such a cool game.
Yeah,
I'm still fucking salty we didn't get Prey 2.
yeah,
I
and
will never get over that.
the ideas behind it seemed really solid. It seemed like it really had some potential, and then kind of just yeah. I know Prey is its own good game, the remake or the whatever, the sequel. Not even the sequel, but you know what I mean. But
The
I really
reboot,
wanted
yeah.
Prey 2 from that same
Yeah.
genre.
Yeah, Human Head, what happened to them was not a great story.
Hmm.
So, hopefully one day we get. I love space games, and I want to see more of that kind of space bounty hunter kind of stuff, not just, your typical like space operas or like your
Right.
space dogfighting kind of games.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Demon Warrior is in the Talisman of Fate. It's an N64 fighting game, and as someone that plays a lot of really bad fighting games, might be the worst game I've ever played. But
you're just really
gamble in it.
you're just really on the spite thing. You're really, really bad at Twitch.
I'm salty because I spent fucking like 3 years at university getting like my maths and science degree. I had to pass a physical exam. I have to like have a scientific like master's to be able to go onto that space station, and up there they're like, the best use of your time is to fucking Twitch stream. I'm fucking doing science, mate. We need to find out if ants can build a colony in zero gravity.
That's one way to look at.
That's fair point.
Why don't you
Yeah.
are there like any virtual ant farm games? Can you stream
Yeah,
one of
there's
those?
Sim Ant.
Oh,
might
yeah.
be
That's
cool.
cement, of course. No,
Yeah.
cement is like you try to build it like in the backyard of some guy. Maybe you can like replace it to like a space station, and
Yeah.
the main goal
there
is
you
to infest like the whole space station with ants.
You
Might be able to get Will right out of retirement.
Stole all the money from and spent it on hookers.
Oh,
I guess, is Will Wright retired? I guess he's still making sim stuff, right?
Oh
Probably.
my god, you could play Spore. People would hate you.
Will Wright, I don't think he's making sim games anymore. He's basically retired from game development, now does,
That's
I
what I
think,
thought.
consulting. I'm not entirely
Yeah.
sure what he does nowadays. He was a weird guy. Do
Yeah.
you know what I would do? I would pick one of like the space station levels from Golf with Your Friends and pretend that I'm playing mini golf in space with miniature black holes all over the space station.
Yeah. Or like,
Oh,
that'd be great.
no. The obvious one, you play Space Station Silicon Valley.
What's the
Like, yeah,
weird?
it's like up here.
What's the moon video game where they had text to speech, and like literally no one played the game, but people would just use the text to speech to talk to each other and just say random things? Oh, Moonbase Alpha. That's what it's called. You guys have never seen this?
No. I don't
No.
think so.
All right.
Spend your next 2 hours looking up Moonbase Alpha text to speech on YouTube. It is hilarious. You're gonna have a good time, I promise.
How big is the dictionary for the text to speech on this thing? I'm assuming not very big, which is why it's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it's your astronauts running around space, but the big funny thing about it is you can type in whatever you want. So people would cut and paste, just random things from the internet and just have this like text to speech dialogue with each other. It's hilarious. Trust me.
The publisher is NASA.
Yes, it is.
See,
So
NASA's
I
into
guess-
video games. This
yeah,
Twitch
it's
stream idea is
such a
not
waste of your
unrealistic.
time.
Wait, I just remembered what the last thing Will Wright did. He joined like the board for at Linden Lab, like the guys that make Second Life.
Yeah, Second Life's still going.
Yeah, it's still going.
The last time I played Second Life, I was a junior in undergrad, and what we did was we made a version of my. Oh God, I wasn't a junior; I was a sophomore. We made a junior of our a version of our differential equations prof, and stuck him in Second Life, because for some weird reason the library at our university decided that they were going to make a room in Second Life, and we visited it, and it wasn't anything like the actual library. All they'd done was they'd taken the very distinctive chairs that our library had and put them in an empty room and called that the library in Second Life. So that's what I would play from a space station. Fucking show off that empty library to everyone and disappoint them. Yeah.
I'm gonna play Hentai Fighter and get NASA banned from Twitch.
Just play Hoonie Pop or whatever. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to get banned from Twitch. apparently filming in a bathroom is not one of them. So, um, yeah, Twitch.
Super space.
Anyway,
Are you inside the space station or outside the space station while doing this?
you're wherever you want to be, where the equipment still works.
Okay.
So if you want to like broadcast yourself trying to play a video game with your huge astronaut gloves on in zero G outside,
The first Switch played on during a spacewalk.
that would actually be that would actually be hilarious. Can you
Yeah,
imagine
Drop
like
a
having
console and it
Joy-Cons
like
strapped to
just
your
goes into
astronaut
orbit.
outfit?
Trying to play it with like those gloves on. You just like
Yeah.
maybe you can play that Balan Wonderland. It still needs one button.
Yeah. Wait, how would motion controls work in zero G?
Yeah.
I'm actually curious about this. Now I want to know.
Big guy just goes crazy. Yeah.
Like, do accelerometers still work in zero G?
See, this is the kind of stuff we should be doing in the space station. All this other
Yeah,
stuff.
Ben, you said this wasn't science. This is fucking science, man. We're gonna figure out if motion controls can work in space. Um,
Look, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm pretty sure someone at NASA knows whether gyroscopes work in space. Like, I'm pretty sure they worked that shit out like in the '60s.
yeah, but video games.
Think about the real world applications, Ben.
The practical applications of all those people in zero gravity situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
all the time. It's totally worth $100 million.
yeah, like all the times when you're like on one of those drop tower rides at an amusement park and you want to play your Switch in the 3 seconds that you're plummeting towards the ground. Yeah, there are a lot of real world applications, Ben.
Those zero G flights where they go up really high and then immediately dive the plane.
Yeah, the flights that they use to train for space flight. Yeah, sure. Let's do
They're gonna
that.
get cheaper.
Yes, the switch there then instead of sending it into space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
I love that this is the one that we all got kind of like caught up on. Like we want to do all kinds of crazy things from space, not all the other stuff like happiness in summer. It's like nah, like we screw up with people.
Yeah, here's where the big guns come out. So yeah, that's what I would do. Anything that you can do on the Vomit Comet is way cooler if you actually do it in space. That's what I say.
What if you like loaded up Roller Coaster Tycoon, made a roller coaster, and made the Vomit Comet like simulate the roller coaster as you rode it?
That would be
It just spins, doesn't it?
No, like
no,
like,
it like actually
up and
it doesn't
down.
spin at all. It just goes up and then plummets in a
Oh,
way
the
that
one with the plane, not the spinny thing. Fuck, what's the spinny thing called?
A Cuban rail.
I don't know what this means. I know exactly what you're talking
Like a
about, but I forget what it's
centripetal
called.
force thing. Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's like several spinny thingies. So
It's not as fun as it sounds. Like I don't know if you've ever been to like the Mission Space ride at Disney World. That is not like a fun ride. It's just uncomfortable to have that many G's on you when you're sitting
I think
still.
it's supposed to be fun.
yeah, they like toned that down.
I mean, it's an
like,
amusement
because
park
in the
ride.
Start, I remember in the start it was like set on a way higher level, and people got legit sick and bruised.
Well, yeah, they'd have to, because the whole point of it is like to test how many G's you can take before you pass out. Like, I don't think they're doing that for a ride.
You don't think there's like a Yelp review that's like space was great, the ride was terrible. 3 stars.
I'm talking about an amusement park ride at Disney. Presumably, it should be safe, right? But then again, I've like people hurt their necks or whatever on Disney rides all the time.
Right. No.
Disney have enough money, you can't sue them.
Yeah, I mean nobody sues Disney because it's the happiest place on earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, people do hurt themselves on those rides. People do dumb things like uh, break the rules, let go of harnesses. Stuff you shouldn't do. Um, those people aren't going to space, so it's all right. Anyway, anything else you guys want to mention about twitching from space?
In space, no one can hear you twitch.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I hope people can hear you twitch from space. Otherwise, we just wasted $100 million.
Yeah, exactly. God.
But yeah,
Maybe the chat would be untenable.
could you imagine people like spamming? I was gonna say spamming PogChamp, but PogChamp's a white supremacist now. So spamming whatever the new equivalent of PogChamp is, from like Earth while you're like doing shit in space.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm just thinking, how much delay are you gonna get from like switching from space to Earth? It's like 3 days or 2 hours or.
I mean, it takes 8 minutes for light from the sun to reach the Earth, and if you're up in orbit, it's really not that much. It's like satellite distance,
yeah.
so there's not that much delay. But that would actually be a good
Well,
latency test.
How good is the rollback netcode in Mortal Kombat 11? Let's test it.
Yeah, we finally see it is science, Ben. You can test latency of communications.
Yeah, but all you're gonna end up is getting against like Scorpion spammers throwing the harpoon anyway, so you'll never even find out.
Yeah,
Just throw all the modems into space and test it.
I don't think more modems solves the problem.
Let's go find like a satellite, just plug right in, right? Like,
Yeah, satellite internet.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Make a mesh network. I don't know.
Like a mesh network that covers the entire globe with satellites.
Yeah.
This is like some Elon Musk shit. It seems like a pipe dream. Anyway, if you'd like to keep up to date with the podcast, you can follow us on our website at avocadogamescast.wordpress.com. There we post each episode along with a link dump that fact checks some of the stuff we say. We're not going to fact check all the space shit. We don't know physics. I'm sorry. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify. If you want, you can subscribe on all three. I don't know why you'd do that, but it's your life. You can do what you like. All you got to do is search for Avocado Gamescast. We're the only podcast called Avocado Gamescast. There might be others. Don't make a podcast called Avocado Gamescast. We don't want to have to. Well, we're not going to sue you because we have no legal representation. But we'll
episode.
I'll send a very sad email pleading with you. Please change your name. Also, please make sure you check out the community that spawned this podcast, The Avocado, at the-avocado.org. Don't type out the word hyphen. Just press the hyphen key on your keyboard. Should be somewhere in the top right. I don't know what your keyboard looks like. If you got a Dvorak keyboard, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. What are you doing with your life?
Do check out the avocado community based on this podcast. Please post there and explain how the fuck did you find this podcast without already knowing about the avocado?
So I have no idea where these listeners are coming from because there are maybe 5 or 6 people who post frequently at the Avocado who listen to this podcast. But then I look at the downloads for each episode and it's in the 200 range.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You're the best. The heroes.
Well, there's a bunch of lurkers, right? That's probably what you're picking up.
So I guess lurkers might be another 50, but where are the other 150 coming from? That's what I'm curious about.
Friends of lurkers.
My sexy appeal. All right.
Yeah, I'm curious, but I think the mystery is what makes life special.
I know we'll make it when we start getting hate comments on the postings no more Kappa on the podcast, he's the worst. That's when I know we'll have made it.
I haven't gotten I haven't gotten like a single anon comment, and comments are like freely open on the podcast website.
Oh, now we're gonna get them.
So like nobody's ever sent me anything being like, you guys are wrong about everything. And I've been wrong about a lot of shit on this podcast. I've said a lot of stupid shit. I said a lot of stupid shit today because I fucking forgot what a character action game was until Ben reminded me. So if you want to send hate tweets at me, I don't have a Twitter account, so good luck doing that. But you know, send us your
How
feedback.
are they gonna top Ben's correction of you on that one?
Yeah. Yeah, like nobody's gonna top fuck you, Merv. So, you know, actually, I'm serious. Please do send us feedback and send us questions to answer on the podcast. We actually love that. So, if you've got anything for us, send it our way. If you've got podcast fan art, don't draw that. That's creepy. But I mean, I can't stop you. You can also send that to us.
Send it directly to me.
If you've got Vor fan art, also send it directly to me.
I could probably eat a Merve, just for.
Yeah, we're the only gaming podcast that supports Vor. So you know, we
I
are.
wanna say, we are the only gaming podcast. Full stop.
I've said that before. I've introduced this
Yeah.
podcast with the only gaming
only-
podcast on the internet.
We just let it go too.
Yeah, maybe we fooled some people. Maybe they think they don't have alternatives.
Like they just happen to listen to that one and be like, man, I wish there was more of these because this one's not that great. But I guess if it's the only one, you gotta stick with
shit,
it.
I guess the gaming podcast seems real dire, eh?
Yeah. The
You
state.
must not
Why
be
don't I start my own
popular.
gaming podcast? Fix these guys up.
The second gaming podcast,
Yeah. All right, folks. This has been great. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful journey through autumn and through moms and outer space. And we
Wow,
will.
you made sound dirty at the end.
Sorry. What about that at the end?
You made that sound dirty at the end.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I get it. The second somebody says moms, their mind goes
No,
places.
it was more the journey through moms.
That could be like through her digestive tract. Remember, we've support the vor.
Yeah, so
The mom is
And
eating
we're
the stuff.
back at it before, yeah.
Do I have to explain that Vor is sexual to you?
I mean,
No,
everybody
no.
likes to eat. Let's be honest.
Are you telling me that moms don't eat? You want to starve the moms, Ben? Okay. I swear this, like Hobbs is like this the first time on the it's his first time on the
It's not
podcast. He's just like,
ending.
what the fuck did I get myself into?
Yeah.
But thank you, Hobbs, for joining us for the first time, and thank you to our
My
listeners
pleasure.
for listening to us talk about moms. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.